All right, let's see if this works. I don't normally do these live, so bear with me here. Okay, I think that I've got my audio good. All right, welcome in everyone. I'm going to invite Kayleen to the call. Give me just a second. There we go. She gets on. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be so great. You're not going to want to miss this. Kayleen is so cool. She's just been killing it in the stock market. So let's just see if we can get it to, see if I can get it to work. Okay, I just sent you an invite, Kayleen. I don't know if you are on here and can see it or not. It should be like in your notifications. But as you guys are coming in, welcome. I'm super excited to be doing this live. This is something I've been looking forward to for a while. Oh, there we go. I think I see it. I had to accept the request to join. Let's see. Sorry guys, I am not I don't normally do these lives. This is my first time trying to do this. Okay. Accept. I don't know. Anyone know how to do these things? I just sent an invite. Let's see. Kaylee Murphy. Oh,
I think we're
there we
good.
go. We figured it out.
We're good.
Hello. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry about
I'm happy to
the
do it.
sorry about the technical issues. This is my first time doing something like this where I'm like running it and I you never know what you'll run into, but
No,
it
I
all
had to
works
Google
out.
how to join a live before, like an hour ago. I had to Google how to join a live,
She's
so we're in the same
proactive,
boat.
guys. She's proactive. She was prepared. Um, really quick, I need to get this question out of the way. Do you prefer Kay or Kayleen? What do you go by?
I go by Kayleen. Most
Kayleen.
people call me Kayleen.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Kayleen. I'm super excited. I'm really
you bet.
excited to do this live with you. For all of you who are here, welcome. This is something that I've been really excited about. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and it's kind of fun to have, two female traders here from UET. We learned how to trade, and so I'm excited for you guys to kind of hear Kayleen's experience and kind of how she has learned how to trade, and also just kind of like be able to touch on this, being able to trade as a female in kind of a male dominated industry. It's kind of a cool topic to discuss. And what's interesting is I feel like most people, like most women that I talk to, don't really even know much about trading, or like they haven't heard about it. It's just like not like really talked about so much among females. But what's so cool is women actually have like natural tendencies that make them better traders in usual and than usual. So it's kind of fun. I'm excited to talk about it. So we'll see. I want to share a little bit about my experience, and I'm sure everyone here is excited to hear from you, Kayleen. You've just been honestly killing it up, blowing up the Profits channel lately. It's been really cool. Um, so just to kind of like briefly introduce, myself for those of you who are new on here, my name is Zoe. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've got three kids. I think you have three kids as well, right,
Yeah,
Kayleen?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, so busy moms, and it's kind of cool just being part of a community where you can learn how to trade. So I know some of you probably have heard my story before, so I won't waste your time. The real reason people are here is because they want to hear from Kayleen. So I'd love to just like, give you the floor just to, share with us how you got into trading, like where you heard about this, and like just kind of like your journey from the beginning, just so we can kind of, hear your experience with it so far.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I was thinking back to kind of what started me on this trading journey. I'm an accountant by trade. I
Okay.
graduated in
Yeah.
accounting. I started my small accounting business right out of college.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I've done that for before that I worked for a supplement company, actually a fitness supplement company. And that was my only experience kind of working office
Hmm.
life, and I didn't even work there for that long, and it until I realized like that I couldn't do it.
Really?
I couldn't do a cubicle kind of 9 to 5 type thing.
I wonder why. Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to
No,
chit
yeah.
chat too much, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I so I started right out of college. I started my own accounting firm, and I've done that for about 8.5 years and
Cool.
have loved it. But um, I think along the way, you kind of, as a woman and mother, really, you kind of you want a side gig, you want a side hustle. That's why, at least where I live, MLMs
Hmm.
are so prevalent. Like
So
they're
big.
everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Every mom wants to contribute. Every mom wants
Hmm.
to have their own thing that's theirs.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
and accounting's great. I mean, I like it, but I wanted something else. I wanted to have something else that was entirely mine. But I have 3 kids, and I didn't want to have to work out daycare. I didn't want to have to work out kind of the overhead of starting a business. I didn't want to have to
Yeah.
worry about managing employees as well as my 3 kids and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I found it. Jeremy and I actually went to the same high school. And I think just kind of over time through my Instagram feed, I saw Uncommon Education Trading. So I thought, okay, maybe
Yeah.
what's that? Um, and I've always been a little bit drawn to things that women aren't necessarily supposed to do.
Right.
Like I played rugby in college. Like I did,
Oh,
it's just,
cool.
and that's just not, it's not a typical thing
Right.
you'd hear.
Yeah.
And so trading to me, I'm thinking like, oh, that's like a sales bro type thing.
Yeah.
That's not a door that's
100%.
necessarily open to me as a suburban mom of three,
Yeah.
you know, but I almost love that about it because that's what made me more intrigued.
Yeah.
So I started
Totally.
following for a long time. I just followed the Instagram feed, kind of saw what people were doing. And then had heard that a mastermind was coming up,
Hmm.
the mastermind training, and kind of thought through it. And all of a sudden, like I remember just kind of having a light bulb moment, like, I see people on here having success. I've heard of people being successful, and it just hit me like, why not me?
Yeah.
Why couldn't
That's so
that be?
cool.
Yeah, why
Hmm.
couldn't that be for me? And so it was last February, or I think it started in January or the beginning of February last year,
Hmm.
but February-ish 2024 is when I
Okay.
took the first mastermind class.
Wow. That's crazy. So, like a year ago,
Hmm.
basically. Wow,
Yeah,
that's so
I
cool.
my first day of trading was leap year of like February 29th of last
Yeah,
year.
that's so cool. That's really awesome. And I really resonate with like a lot that you said because, I'm kind of the same way where I just always wanted to have like an extra income, a side income. My husband's still going through school. We're pretty young. We've got 3 kids, and it just wasn't really in the cards for me to like go and have a big career. And honestly, that wasn't like appealing to me either. Like, I really have always just wanted to be like home with my kids. And I didn't want to pay for daycare costs. I didn't have to worry about that. But I'm like a hustler. Like, I'm always looking for ways to make money. And like, I would like try different things. Like, I would start little businesses and whatnot. And like, I like found joy and fulfillment in that. But it was like, and at the end of the day, it's like I'm still working like way too many hours. And like, I'm not like, yeah, I can do it from home, but like my kids are watching TV while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of the same way where it was like I wanted something that I could like be home with my kids. But honestly, it's like trading just seemed so intimidating and just like not like this isn't for me. Like, I don't know if you ever felt like that. I mean, I'm curious to hear your perspective because you're also an accountant, so you're in finance. Like, you've been in finance for a while. But is that like, why do you think that? I'd love to hear like your opinion. Like, why do you think women like just automatically think like, oh, this isn't for me? Like, when it comes to the stock market.
I think just because it's been male dominated for so long,
Yeah,
and breaking the status quo for people, I think is an uncomfortable thing, and something that
totally.
you have to break past that initial bias to then accept
Hmm.
like, oh, but what if this could be for me?
Yeah.
What if this is for no reason only for men? That
Right.
women could come in and do this. And I was reading somewhere today, I was kind of looking online at stats, and it said something about only 26% of women will be involved in the stock market at all within their lifetime, but those that do tend to outperform their peers. peers. What, I hate
No,
to,
I
I don't want to like
I
compare,
believe
but it's
it.
like
No,
they
yeah.
they outperform men in it.
Hmm.
And I mean, why? Um, Maybe, I mean, it could, I haven't done research into necessarily why. It could be because we may be a little bit more risk averse and
Hmm.
thus are more patient, waiting for the right setup to present itself, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Totally.
Um, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
No,
know,
those
but
are really good
the
thoughts.
stats show
Mhm.
women outperform when they stick
Totally.
with it.
Yeah, and I think when you think about you as a beginner trader, and like when I think about my experience when I was a beginner trader, like the most common mistakes that traders make when they're just getting into this is like you're over trading, or you can't accept a loss, or you're just entering trades without waiting for confirmation. And so kind of like what you said, like you deal with like issues with like patience, or like your ego gets in the way, or like impulse control, things like that. And I think that everyone, that's just natural. I think everyone, women and men, have to deal with that when you're just starting with trading. But the research that I've seen, like women do tend to have a little bit more patience, a little bit more control over their emotions, and they are able to, kind of control their ego. They can admit when they're wrong, like, oh, it's okay, it's a small loss, no big deal, things like that. Like I think that women do have like an advantage there, and but it is interesting because like you said, it's a male dominated industry, and it almost just feels like too intimidating, like women can't do it, or they shouldn't do it. But it's like, actually, if more women did it, they would be really successful with it, right? And I
Yeah. Well,
remember,
it's just,
oh, go
but
ahead. I was just gonna say, I remember like when I first heard about trading, my friend told me about it. My friend who helped grow this company, you probably know her. Her name's Carol, and she told me about trading. This was a couple years ago, and I was just like what is day trading? Like I just like didn't get it, and I was just like, that's like cool, but like it's not for me.
yeah.
Like it literally is not for me. I'm just like, that does not make any sense to me. I don't even know what the stock market is. And it took me a while to kind of warm up to the idea, but once I like started it and started learning, I was like, wait, like why aren't more women doing this? Like this is, I know so many women, I know so many moms who want to be home with their kids and like stop working, like they're people like can love their careers and at the same time want to spend less time in their careers and have more time with their kids, and they just like don't know what to do. And
Right.
so anyway, so that's just kind of my thoughts on that. Like I feel like yeah, like it's actually like so cool for women to be able to do this, and I wish more women knew about it. But yeah. um so I know that I'd love to hear your experience with when you first started trading. Everyone kind of deals with like some challenges, and everyone like goes through like some hard times. I'd love to hear like your experience, like what were kind of the biggest challenges that you faced when you started trading.
Honestly, it's with anything new, it's a learning curve. You're going to have a
Yeah,
learning curve. You're going to like how to use the software and, things like that, how to set up the trading account, which Mastermind answers all of these questions for you, which is, it
totally.
was so nice, but still just using it. You get
Hmm.
all the tools but then you're in the markets live, and just getting kind of through the kinks of that, entering and exiting trades and that kind of thing. So there
Right.
was oopsie times when I would enter puts when I meant to enter calls, and just like these kind of
Right.
rookie mistakes that
Hmm.
I think are just part of it.
Hmm.
Um, and kind of knowing how to hold to like a profit target and knowing when to exit at a stop loss, just going through it. And they say a bunch of times in the mastermind, like the most beneficial thing is time in the market. And I think that's so true. Just going through it, doing it, having been taught obviously for weeks before then, kind of how to read the charts and what they mean and
Right.
how to interpret that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But my biggest problems at the beginning are the things that women typically don't struggle with, in that I have a really, really hard time admitting when I'm wrong.
Hmm.
So adhering, and I know a lot of people are like this, but adhering to a stop loss, I
Yeah.
think part of it is I have a really hard time admitting when I'm wrong. And
Yeah.
oh, it's cute. And then part of it is just maybe just like the naivety and hope that
Hmm.
oh, it's gonna turn around. I'm like, so part of it's a negative thing that I just can't let go of something. And the other parts
Right.
may be positive, and I'm like, I sure am hopeful that
Yeah.
that it can turn around. And I I keep track of all my stats.
Mhm.
I'm kind of using an online software, and I look and I have so many more green days than red,
Mhm.
but I let my red days be really red.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so that's where for me it was hard, just those days when it was really really red and it never turned around. Just the psychology of it all was so
Yeah.
hard, and then you have these, you're almost like confirming a belief that like, oh, maybe this, I'm not supposed to be doing this, maybe I'm not, and it's the whole
Yeah.
psychology of trading and the things you say to yourself
Mhm. Oh, you're good.
and overcoming those,
Yeah.
that um
Mhm.
and just learning how I trade, because there's awesome rules and things to follow, but I had to also put my personality into my trading and figure out how to best use my personality to trade. If have a really really hard time admitting a stop loss and taking a little bit of a hit, then I at least need to get a lot better at my entries and making sure my
Yeah.
entries are, and that's where things really started to turn around for me. Is I realized, okay, I have this problem. It doesn't seem to be getting better, and I still to this day need to implement things that'll help me adhere to a stop loss,
Yeah.
but I've shifted my focus a little bit to say, okay, these entries have to be stellar.
Yeah.
Like I have to have all the criteria met that I
Mhm.
learned about in Mastermind, these strategies that we follow, they've got to be there because I know I can't just go in half cocked and
Yeah.
take a little bit of a loss.
Totally.
I'm gonna sink.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
done that for the last couple months, and that is where I have found awesome success. And it's, on the flip side, and all of a sudden now these reaffirming ideas that I can do this.
Yeah.
I, you know, I, I'm finding success in this. I'm profitable in this. I am making this, a very profitable side gig for me. Just things
Totally.
like that. I needed a few of those big wins to
Mhm.
start really,
To build the
um, oh,
confidence.
yeah, to build my
Yeah.
confidence.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's really cool to, to like touch on that. Honestly, everyone who starts, it's a learning curve for everyone. Like it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, right? Like you are going to struggle like in the beginning. But what I love about like what you've done is like you are tracking every trade. You are looking at the data and you are saying, okay, what is going wrong? Like what am I doing wrong? What can I fix? And I mean, it sounds to me like you are using your strengths to be profitable, right? Like you're
Right.
using your strengths where it's like, okay, I know that this is my weakness. I struggle exiting when I'm supposed to. And so, but your strengths are you're finding really good setups. And I think that honestly, I think it will get easier over time as you see, you continuously have these big wins over and over again. Then I think the small losses won't hurt so bad because you're like, oh,
Right.
like I can make this back, and I think
Right.
that just comes with more practice, but I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, so I mean, I know like I've been watching your profits. You just are making like so
Just
much money with this. I think it's so cool. Do you feel comfortable sharing like what is the most you've earned in one day or in like the most you've profited in 1 month?
sure. Um, it would only be fair to tell you my lowest point. Um,
Yeah.
at my lowest, I was down. Um, it was January 24th of 2025. So not that long
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
I was down 13,389.
Okay.
And now I am profitable. I've made that all
That's
back
amazing.
plus. So in the last
That's
little bit,
incredible.
it literally was like a light bulb moment when I started to shift in what I'm good at and how,
Yeah.
that's so it's been since January 24th, I've made over 14 grand.
Incredible. That is
So
so
it's,
amazing. And like it doesn't even surprise me because like your profits are usually at least over $1,000 like every
yeah.
day.
Well,
So
and
I
that's
mean
the
if
other
you're
part of it is figuring out what dollar amount moves you.
right.
At the beginning, my it was a little bit different for me, whereas I just hoped to be profitable. I just hoped to make a couple
Yeah.
dollars. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get in and out of a trade mostly unscathed. And then it comes to like, oh, okay, if I were to make a couple dollars a day, it's just interesting how your mindset kind of shifts as you
Totally.
go on. And everyone's going to have to figure out that amount for them. I was
Right.
driven to want to, be profitable these last couple months. And so for me, I knew what I had to hit,
Yeah.
the numbers I had to hit, and that became my new target. And that's obviously going to change given
Totally.
everyone's circumstance. I know people that are out there like, if I today can pay for like my lunch
Yeah.
today, or like my cup of coffee or whatever, and then next week it's, oh, I've paid for my lunches for the week in a day, or
Yeah.
I pay, and just incrementally as you get better and better, your goals
Hmm.
start getting higher and higher. And I think I have found kind of the sweet spot for me,
That's
um
awesome.
knowing my position size and what my goals I want to hit is, yeah. So
That's so cool.
it's
So what is
it's
it?
been an adjustment.
What is your current position size right now? Like how much are you trading with per trade?
I'm typically anywhere between 2 and 3 thousand per trade,
Okay.
but I started out with $500 in my account.
Okay.
So I was playing stocks, and there's plenty of stocks
Yeah.
for people with, a smaller account size. I had no trouble finding trades
Yes.
when I had
Yeah.
500 in there,
Hmm.
and now I look, I still play the small. I still play the small account ones. I did, I played one today. But yeah, I'm typically around 2 to 3 thousand
Okay.
per
Cool.
trade.
And then about how many trades would you say you do in a day?
When I am adhering to my rules, two,
Two.
two,
Okay.
two trades. If I'm really profitable in my first trade, I won't take a second
Okay.
trade. Um, Typically two. On the days I have done three, more often than not, I tank. I don't know what psychology is behind it, but I would
Hmm.
say kind of for me, my golden spot is around two, occasionally three. If there's a great
Totally.
setup that's kind of an A plus, I'll take a third trade, but most of the
Right.
time it's two. Plus, I'm limited by my time.
Hmm.
Market opens at 7:30. My kids are up usually around 7, and I got to
Okay.
get them ready
Yeah.
for school. So
Hmm.
I have about a half hour. There's occasionally times where I'll let it play out a little bit longer than that, but for the most part, I am I am logged out within a half hour.
Okay. Cool. So you're just the first 30 minutes of the market is
Mhm.
what you're trading. Okay.
Yep,
That's
for the
awesome.
most
And
part.
yeah, I think that's what's so cool. For those of you listening, that's what most people in our group are doing. It's like they're only trading the first 30 minutes, maybe first hour. And I think it's so cool. You're really only trading with $2,000 or $3,000. I mean, that must mean that you're having pretty big wins, though, right? Or like, what do you think are like your average
Re
wins that you're having?
yeah, recently there's times I've done more simply because I wanted to be able to say I was profitable on this live. I told you that. I
Yeah,
I wanted to be able to come on and vouch for this program for trading for women,
yeah,
knowing I was profitable. So
yeah.
that was very motivating for me. So there were definitely times in the last couple of weeks where I position sized up
Uh huh.
because I wanted to be able to say like with full confidence, like this is
Yeah,
working for me. You know?
that's so cool.
Um, but yeah, I would say on average I'm around 2 grand.
That's so awesome. So cool. And when you first started, how much were you trading with? Like when you first started, like how much money was in your account?
I funded it with $500. I funded my account with
Okay.
500, and I played with that for a couple months and kind of went up
Okay.
and down with
Cool.
that for a couple months until I thought like, okay, I'm starting to get this. Then I would add another
Yeah.
500. Played with that for a little. So just incrementally, I'm like, okay, as I'm getting this, it's when I got a little arrogant and put more money in and
Yeah.
then I would lose. And then I think I still know, like if I could just fine tune something, I could be really
Mhm.
profitable, and then I would have a huge down day. So for me, I knew this was going to be a long-term thing. And
For
my goal
sure.
has always been to be profitable within a year.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people like who've done the mastermind, who I see on the Profits channel, who are profitable much quicker than I am. But I
Mhm.
knew for me, given like my personality and the way, the kinks I've had to work out along the way, my goal has always been be profitable within a
That's
year. And
so
just like
cool.
to know
Yeah.
I've done that to me is like a huge deal for me. Other people I'm sure are going to have different goals, but I just knew long-term profitability meant more to me than like, oh, within the first week I made
Yeah.
so
Yeah, totally.
that's where
That's
my goals
so
were.
that's awesome and like really you should be proud of yourself. That's so cool. And I think it's pretty normal for people to take a few years to be profitable with trading, right? And
Right.
so I think that that's like totally normal. It's really cool, and I think it's really good to come in with that mindset of like this is a long-term thing. Like this is a lifelong skill set that you're going to have for the rest of your life. life. So if it
Right.
takes you a year, that's okay, right?
Right.
And so I think
Well, and
that's
think of
right.
any business, any startup, something like that. If you're profitable within the first year, within the first couple years, you're killing it.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the things that really helped me have hope was on one of the days, like when I had lost a lot. There was a time where within this year, I think I've taken off like 3 months. There was 2 months I didn't trade, and then a month kind of at the beginning where I didn't
Yeah.
trade. But I remember on the Uncommon Education training site, there I think it was Jeremy posted a reel about his year one, year
Yeah.
two, year three, and just how exponentially
Hmm.
that gave me so much hope because I'm like, I am eight
Totally.
months in and I am
Yeah.
floundering. But
Totally
then I saw
fine.
that and I was like, that could happen for me if I don't give up.
Yeah.
If I just put my head down, do the things I was taught, I can
Yeah.
become profitable. And that's kind of around the same time where things started to take off for me.
Cool. I love that. And I think it's so cool, like you stuck with it, right? And I think that's like where most people kind of like give up. It's like, okay, like I joined this program, I've been trading for like 4 months and that's not working for me. Like that's like it's like, okay, take a deep breath, like you're gonna be fine. Just sticking with it and like just continuing and like you've been doing, like tracking your trades and just seeing like, okay, like I'm seeing where my weaknesses are and I'm going to like change them and this is what I'm gonna like. I just think that's so cool. And like everyone listening, that this should be very motivating to you that like if you believe you can do something, you can do it, right? It's like if
Right.
you believe in yourself and you just keep working at it, like you can do it.
Right.
I think someone just asked in the comments, what strategy do you use? Like, do you have a favorite strategy that you use it from UET or like a combination of some?
Let me say my two favorite are first candle strategy, just because there's so much volatility.
Uh-huh.
Um, and for me, that's great because if I guess wrong, there's a great chance it's going to bounce right back, with
Yeah.
that. But there's also criteria to follow and kind of
Right.
which way you guess it's going to go. But I love first candle strategy, A, because it's quick. There's
Mm-hmm.
a ton of volume. Um, and the second one typically would be an RBR, kind of a rally based
Yeah.
rally. Like I'll watch and then I see these couple little candles and then I'm kind of
Yeah.
watching for those type of setups or bounce. Those
Mm-hmm.
three, I think those three I oscillate just depending on what the market's giving.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but I'm typically watching almost always for like a first candle strategy, and then today at least, the lately it's been a
Yeah,
bounce.
totally. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that's pretty typical. Like we have like I think I want to say like five strategies that are taught at UET. But what is so cool is like you just figure out what you're good at. There was like a while where like I was really bad with a specific strategy, but I would just keep trying to play it, and then after a while I would look back and I'd be like, I'm just not good at this. Like I'm just gonna switch to what I'm good at, right?
Right, right,
And I think that that's part of like everyone's journey is just finding out like what are you good at. Like this is a skill that like can be adapted to like so many different personalities and so many different people, and like your strengths can help you be successful at this. But yeah, it's like just figuring out like what are you good at and kind of sticking with that, like running with your strengths, I think is really cool.
yeah.
um, so, and I know you said that you're an accountant and you've been in finance before you like joined or before you started. Did you have any like in ex or like what were your expectations like when you decided to start doing this, and like what like were you intimidated? Were you skeptical? Like what were kind of like your thought processes like when you decided you wanted to start doing this?
Um, I was excited.
Yeah.
It's just something new, but that wasn't. It's intimidating, of course, but I knew going into it I was going to be getting an education before I was just thrown in. So for me, that was really comforting. But yeah, developing a new skill is intimidating, and for me, I came in at literal zero. I shared with some of the mastermind that people who did mastermind with me. My dad, he was a trader his whole life.
Okay.
He
Like a day
invested money
trader?
for other people. Yeah, kind of he would
Yeah.
be in watching, not that he would be in and out in a day, but he was watching the markets all
Right.
day long. He was managing money for foundations and things like that, but his
Oh, cool.
portion of it was all stock market. So I
Mm-hmm.
grew up around it.
Yeah.
And still I went in knowing nothing. I
Yeah.
didn't know what a candle was. I didn't know
Yeah.
what platform to even trade on. I went in so blind.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but and it was scary, of course, at first, as learning any kind of new
Right.
skill is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was just so intrigued by it that I was excited. I
Yeah,
just looked at this thing, and again with the idea of like, why not me? How can I make this work for me? Was really excited, along with the scary. And I think that's
100%.
partly
Yeah.
what's helped me is I can accept the unknown of it, the scary of it, and still be so excited about it because I saw people having success with this. And to me, I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, many people on here probably took the ACT. It's reading graphs. Like the science portion is all
Mm-hmm.
about reading graphs. This is high school, junior
Yeah.
high stuff, learning
Mm-hmm.
how to read a graph. And I'm like, that's essentially what we're doing here. There's more to it that you can, that you learn the strategies of why the graph looks like it does and that kind of
Totally.
thing. But to me, I was like, this is just kind of betting on my answer. Like I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
of me taking an ACT, having to read a graph and, interpret information. That's
Right.
exactly what this is. It's just kind of happening in real time and you're putting a bet on your answer,
Yeah,
what you've
totally.
interpreted. And I'm like, anybody can do that,
Yeah. No,
you
100%.
know?
I know. It's like I thought like, okay, if you're gonna get into trading or if you're gonna be in the stock market, you have to like completely understand all this stuff. You have to be a mathematician, like you have to know how all this works. And it's just not like that at all. Like it's actually so, I don't want to say easy because obviously it's a skill that someone has to
Right.
learn, but like it's simple. It's so simple.
Yes.
Like when you actually learn, okay, there's just you're learning how to read the stock market. It's like learning a new language, like
Yeah.
it takes time, but like you can learn it. Like it's really not that
It's
hard. It's
so
like
doable. Hmm.
it's so doable. Like you do not have to be like a mathematician. You do not have to have a background in anything. I think obviously probably being an accountant helps, but like honestly even like I don't think you really don't need
No,
like any sort of
you don't.
foundation beforehand. It's like you really what you need is you need the drive to do it.
Yeah.
You need the discipline to be able to, follow your rules, and you need to like be able to keep your emotions in control, all that.
Yep.
Um, but the rest of it, it's like, yeah, you get more experience with time. It might be confusing at first, but like give it time, right? Like
Right.
if you could learn a skill that like a brand new skill that you have no experience in, and you knew that in a year it would make you money, like wouldn't you do it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's so cool. I think someone else just asked another question. How long did it take you to see consistent success? So I think you kind of already answered that when you were mentioning, it's kind of been like a whole journey this past year.
Hmm.
But this month is the first month when you've established I am profitable, which is
Yeah.
so cool.
I mean, with the caveat of had I adhered to a stop loss, I would have been
A
profitable a long time ago
long
because
time
I've
ago.
had, yeah, I was looking at my stats the other day. That the only part that like being accountant helps with is reading like all my stats, which I'm so obsessed with, just like looking, but even those
Uh-huh.
you can learn
Everyone can
very quickly.
learn it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I have had twice as many green days. Like
That's so cool.
maybe even more than twice as many green days. I have had a lot of success along the way. It's
Uh-huh.
just my fatal flaw was
Right.
letting the red days be huge,
Huge.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that's so cool. Like it's just it's so simple to learn the skill. Like once you like get doing it, like once you start doing it, it's like you can catch on and you can get really good at seeing the setup, seeing the strategies, learning how to read the market. You can get really good at that. But I think the hardest part is, the discipline, the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect of it. And so
Yeah.
yeah, everyone experiences that for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to just open up just for like a brief Q&A, and just see. I know people have kind of been asking questions. I've been trying to follow along, but if you guys have any
Will you
other
read them to me,
questions,
Zoe? I can't see
yeah,
them on.
yeah,
I mean,
of
I
course.
saw it until I had like an alarm go off, and I think
Oh,
it stopped showing me questions
it's
then.
okay. Yeah, no worries. I will go through and see. I just want to see if anyone wants to ask any questions if I haven't answered some because I tried eyeing it while we were chatting. But in the meantime, while we kind of wait for people to just drop some questions for you, um, I would just love. Oh, let's see. What are the top stocks you trade?
So as part of the mastermind, you're invited into this Discord channel. It's called Potential Plays,
Hmm.
and that they send out. And I will typically play those. I would say my personal favorite to trade are Nvidia, Coin, Tesla, um, occasionally Apple. Um, I would say my top three are Nvidia, Coin, and Tesla.
Yeah. And I think it's cool, like when you start trading, it's like you once you like kind of get familiar with specific stocks, you get really like you can get really good at like one stock.
Gravitate towards those because I watch them the most and I can
Yeah.
kind of see how they move. So I'm not like today.
Hmm.
I played a stock I've never played before though because it was a
Yeah.
great opportunity. It was in the potential plays and it made me
Hmm.
$2,000 today. Like
That's
it was
amazing.
an awesome stock, you know.
Yeah.
But I will say it was riskier for me because I'm like I've never played this stock before. I don't know how it
Right.
moves. So I try to expand and branch out a little bit because I want to get better. But yeah, I definitely have my favorites.
That's awesome. And then someone else asked about live trading. Like, do you trade what's learned in the live trading sessions, or do you do your own trades?
I I love getting on the
Hmm.
live sessions because there's always a kind of a teaching moment beforehand. I just, I love learning from people who have done this for far longer than me. So even
Hmm.
if I don't take the trade he's taking or you're trading that, when you've done live trading, I almost always do and I'll do my own
Hmm.
trades, but if there's a live trade, I'll take the live trade.
Yeah,
But it's up to
that's
me
awesome.
to enter and
It is,
exit.
yeah.
It's still on me. But yeah, usually I'll take the live trade if I again, it's kind of it comes to a gut feeling.
Hmm.
If they
Oh,
take,
yeah.
if somebody's taking a live trade and I'm just kind of like, ugh, then I won't. But I
Yeah,
would say more often than
totally.
not, I can see the logic behind it and I'll take the trade. And
Yeah,
I've had a lot of successful trades that way from the live
that's
trading.
awesome. Yeah, I think that's so cool. Like, what I love about UET and this company is like we are helping you guys be independent traders. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. Like, I love the live sessions. I almost always will take the trade with Jeremy unless he starts saying something like, "Well, this might be a higher risk trade." That I
Yeah.
usually don't.
At least
So
he'll let
like,
you
if
know. He'll
Jeremy is
say it.
telling me, yeah, then I probably
Yeah.
will not do it. But yeah, no, I love doing the live trading. I love the live trading, but it's really cool. Like in the beginning, like you said, like the potential plays, the live trading, like all of this is stuff that like you can just kind of follow along and like while you're learning the skill, right? It's like you can kind of
Hmm.
follow along and just use these resources to help you get more experience. But at the end of the day, like you're learning this to for you to be successful, and so you will be able to figure out your own way to make money with this and you might have different strategies or different stocks that you play that are different from Jeremy, but at the end of the day, like you can do this independently, which I think
Right.
is like really cool.
Right. Yeah. You're
Um,
taught the skills to do it independently, but you are given help. Like the help
exactly.
doesn't stop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, and then just one other question I wanted to ask. So, because you took the mastermind in February, so a year ago,
Hmm.
and yeah, what was your experience with the mastermind? Like, did you join the classes live, and did you join the following mastermind? Because we have them every few months.
Hmm.
What was kind of like your experience with it?
For me, I committed. It was a
Hmm.
commitment. I was investing in myself, and so I made it. I was on every class. I made sure I took notes. I have a whole file on my laptop with the notes and things like that. So yeah, I went to every single one. I got on quite a few of the following mastermind. And I made sure to get on those, but it's such an invaluable resource that I was like, I
Totally.
learned something every single time.
Yeah.
And even some of these one-liners that Jeremy would say would just click so much
Oh
in my
yeah.
head, like things
Hmm.
I hadn't thought of before that helped me. Like I didn't understand the difference between like a scalping mindset and a day trading mindset, and that day trading is more long term, where scalping is you're in and out fast. And just like
Hmm.
realizing that, was really helpful to me. yeah, quite a few, what, like every single time I would come away with some kind of nugget of wisdom that I'm like, okay, this is
Hmm.
going to help me. And then I had to take all of those and
Hmm.
figure out how to implement them for myself. But I will say there was not a class I went to at
Hmm.
all that I thought, oh, that was a waste of time. I
Right.
never felt like that. I always came
Yeah.
away feeling like it was well worth my time, well worth the investment. I learned a lot.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's almost like Jeremy's been doing this for a really long time or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
honestly,
Like he's good
what I
at it.
lo- yeah, he's good at
Mhm.
it, and it's funny because like his live classes, it's like without a doubt, I just know that I don't even need to look at any other company to know that like these are the best because it's like you said, like he gives you like he does Q&As, he does a lesson, he gives inspiration. Like it's like because he already knows everything that you can fail at as a trader.
Right.
He's like dealt with like the worst, like you know what I mean. Like he is done the worst as that you can do as a trader, and so
Right.
being able to learn from someone who has been doing this for a long time, it's so cool. And so I love that in these live sessions, he's not just saying like, okay, buy here and sell here, buy
Right.
here, sell here. It's like it's a
Right.
lesson. Like he's like, this is like how this is how you can actually like, he's like showing you like these important lessons that you need to make. It's like, wow, I needed to hear that today. And I think it's so cool.
Yeah. A lot of my
That's
aha moments
awesome.
have also come from Alex's like
Oh
psychological stuff.
yeah,
He'll just kind of post like
100%.
tips like that. Those have been really, really helpful
Yeah,
for me from the study.
totally.
He'll just come in and post these just kind of a psychological thought and how it relates to trading and that kind of thing. And I found a lot of help through those too.
Yeah, I think it's so cool, and like it's really honestly just such a cool community that you can learn a skill like this, and so awesome. Well, I don't want to take up
Mm.
any more of your time, Kayleen. This was so cool. I'm glad that we got the chance to chat about this, and I love hearing about your
Yeah.
experience. And I think you're just doing
Yeah.
so great, and just appreciate that you're willing to come on here and share this with people. I would love
Yeah.
to just ask like one last question. Do you have, if you had like one word of advice, or any advice that you would want to give someone who's like maybe on the fence about this, or another woman who's trying to make money from home or something like that, what kind of advice would you provide for them?
Honestly, to just sit with the thought. I mean, for me, the most moving part, to sit in the thought of why not you? Why
Yeah.
can't this, why wouldn't this work for you?
Hmm.
If you put your head down, do the work, and really try, you can find success, a lot faster probably than I have, but be long term, which is more important. Like, why not you? Why couldn't this be something that you could invest in and just really put your head down, do the work, learn, and get good at?
Hmm.
Because you
Totally.
can. Like you said, it's not like, you hate to call it easy, but it's very simple. And
Hmm.
just, yeah, really just
Anyone
put
can
your head
do
down,
it.
do the work, be in the market. You can do it. Why not
Yeah.
you?
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you bet.
So cool, you guys. And this is just like so awesome. We have so many members that are just making so much success with this. If you have been like ever wanting to join our mastermind program, basically it's a 5-week program where you can learn these strategies live. Jeremy teaches it live. And we have these, they happen a few times every year. So you can be part of this community, and you can join these live sessions. You can learn this skill for yourself. Does not matter if you're a beginner or if you have no background in the stock market. Anyone can honestly do this. So if you're interested in learning more about our mastermind, you can comment, book a call, or you can send us a DM, the phrase book a call, and we can give you more information on that. But thanks, you guys, for being here, and thanks, Kayleen, again for your
Thanks,
time.
Zoe.
This was so
Thanks so
awesome.
much.
You guys have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.